Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. I've been working on my twin carb conversion, and what I thought I would do is build a carb. Now, I have had a look through my stash of carbs, and unfortunately the stash is getting a bit low. There's numerous jobs to do, right? First of all, I've got to get a second carb, haven't I? I've got to get a second carb. Ideally, they ought to be the same. I've got quite a few carbs that are in parts, and I've got one or two that are complete. So what I thought I would do is get all of my carburetors out and see what I can do with them, see what I've got, see what I can match up as a pair. But what I also wanted to do was, if you can imagine the scenario, I want to drive the car with that carb, in the belief that that carb is okay. It was alright the last time I drove it. I have been round the block in it, but not a good drive. So I want to drive the car with that carb, and then what I thought I would do is, when I've got a second carb, I'll swap the other carb on, drive the car again with the other carb, make sure it behaves okay, and then when I've got two carbs that are running nice, I'll bolt them both on to the other manifold and bolt it on the car, to save kind of bolting two on and not even knowing whether one works or not. So just for my own reference, I have looked at this before. That is a 2129, and that carb top has the casting hole at the top, but doesn't actually have the vent there. So where does that mean where the vent would be? Let's have a look. I'm not sure. It might have one of those air horns. It's probably a mismatched top anyway. Okay, but I believe this carb is okay. So I'm going to get all of my carbs out and see what else I've got. Okay, righto. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. I've scrounged around and I've found every carburetor and remnants of carburetor that I can find. Plus there's one on the manifold. Plus there's that one there. But I don't want to use that one because it's a 1-inch carb, that is, and it doesn't have the type of linkage that I want there. The one on the car is a 2129, so I can pretty well rule some of these out straight away. This one's got a choke on it. That's a 1 1/16. That's a 2110. It looks like that's in pretty good condition, to be honest. Okay, let's put that out of the way. I think this is a big one as well. Ford USA. EBV. So that's a 1-inch. So I don't want to use that. But that hasn't got the big base of the 1 1/16. But it has got a base, but there's some bits missing, look. And I've just used that screw to attach that. Must have been looking at that recently. Right, so put that out of the way. Right, so that's just a lid. This is a very dirty one. Okay. It's got the wrong sort of base, but it does appear to be complete. Model ECG. That's another 1 1/16, amazingly. But it hasn't got the big. Is that the big base? That's a big base as well. So that's another 1 1/16. Okay. Put that on one side. Oh, 2129. Model 2129, blanked off hole there. So what does that mean? And there's a hole there. I don't think that other one's got a hole there. This looks like it's had some new parts on it. Not stuck. So that's a good candidate, isn't it? Looks nice in there. Choke's in place. Everything looks like it's there, so that's probably the one. That is probably the one to make a match. But for the purpose of this exercise, this one looks in decent shape. It looks complete, although it does look a bit jiggered around, and it looks in okay condition. And I think I have been in this one by the look of it, because that's one of my bolts there. It's an old trick. You replace the screw with a bolt so you can get a spanner on it and you can undo it and leave the base in situ, which is an advantage when you're dealing with multiple carb setups, because you can take the carbs off, leave the bases on and leave the linkage undisturbed. So that's definitely a good one to try and use, and it's a match to that one, 2129. And funny enough, look, can you see under there, look, I've got a stud and a nut. So that one's actually done the same. So this one and that one would make a pair. So what I'll do, I'll get all these put into a box and get them put away, and see where we go from here. Right, I'll bring you back then when there's more to show. Okay, cheers then, bye. Okay, eyes down, looking for another Holly 94 carb teardown. Righto, that's it, isn't it? That's torn down. I'll get them cleaned up, and when I'm ready I'll start putting them back together. I'll catch you later. Cheers then, bye. Hello. Here's my manifold, and I've put two carb bases on. These have the stock type Ford levers. That was a bit worn actually, nonetheless. Now, in theory at least, these things here ought to be 4 3/4 apart. I found in one of my drawers of stuff this link, and as you can see, it's too short. But it does dismantle. These are a Whitworth size, which shows, well, somehow gives away its origin. It must be British from somewhere. I don't know where it came from. I just found it in one of the drawers, you know, stuff that I've saved over the years. So I need to extend it. So the first thing I thought was, well, this is adjustable, so this must come out of there. So let's get that apart. Hang on. I found some old Whitworth spanners as well. So that comes out of there, and then once you've took the gubbins from in there out, which I have done, I've got all that stuff, that comes out of there. So what I need is one of these that's longer. That is 5.5 millimeters, which is an odd size, isn't it? So I haven't got any 5.5 millimeter material, but what I have got is a nail. Now this nail measures nearly 6 millimeters. It's just under 6 millimeters. That measures 5.9 millimeters. Now this will tolerate something a bit bigger than 5.5, but it won't take that. I've tried it. So what I'm doing here is illustrating what I wanted to do. In real time I've actually done it, so I'll show you the piece that I made. So there's the piece that I've made. There's the piece that I want to copy. And there's the piece I've made. And what I did, I just put it in the lathe, I straightened it, put it in the lathe and filed it until this piece slipped over. Then I filed a bit more till it slipped over a bit further, and I filed a bit more till it slipped over a bit further, and all the way up till I got to the end. And now this piece, which is the piece I made, goes through there. Curse of YouTubers, isn't it, doing things one-handed? So that goes in there now. So I'm hoping that when I offer this up to here, I could have done with a better one of these, couldn't I, with a better shaped thing, but it doesn't matter because it is adjustable. This will, you know, be okay. So there's two carb bodies. I've put the gubbinry in there, the spring and the seat and the cap, the end caps, and I've just closed both the things and then tightened up that, so that, you know, those are in sync now. Whoa. So this is why, if you have twin carbs, it's good to use the modified bolt here and there, so that you can undo them in situ and leave the bases intact on the manifold and the linkage in place, so that you can not lose the synchronization. It would work better if that wasn't football shaped, and I need to attach a point on here which is around about, I was looking at using maybe one of these. These are the things that go on this side here, on the earlier carbs. Maybe using one of those there. When the carb's closed, on my present linkage, on a single one, this piece is roughly above this bolt hole. So that would need to go around about there, like that. Sorry, about there. The only problem is that you've got this sort of tendency for this to do this. Though I must admit it's all a bit tight, to be honest. I'll have to put a good spring on, but I do better to wait until it's installed in the car before wanting to do that. Okay. Well, I've been doing that. I've had the carb in the thingy bob, so I'll get these out now and give them a bit of a brush and see how they look. They're not greasy, are they? Okay. Righto. I used water and a dishwasher tablet. So let's see. Let's get these out then and see what they're like. I'll give everything a bit of a wire brush. I'll run a tap through the threads as well. That all needs cleaning off. I'll go and clean these up and I'll come back in a little bit. I'm not too sure about the dishwasher tablet. It appears to have left this sort of deposit still. Okay, I've got some cleaning up to do. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. There's a gasket on that one, I think. Or is there? No, maybe not. Okay, righto. Back in a bit. Hello. I'm going to try and assemble this carb. I've cleaned it out the best I can. I had it in the ultrasonic cleaner. I wouldn't say it's a fantastic job. Okay. Choke, no choke. Choke, no choke. Choke, no choke. Whop, whop, whop. All the holes have been poked out and everything. So there we are. Holly 94. Hot to trot. Okay. I hope you found that useful. You know, if you're doing the job yourself, it's not difficult. You've got the kit. You buy the kit, don't you? And you know, you just do it. Mart's OCD kicks in. Okay. So we're one step closer to being able to put that twin manifold on the car now. Okay, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Cheers then, bye. Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. There's the coupe. That's the carb that's on it. I don't know the history of that other than it's been on this car for quite a few years. I checked back my recording and I did run the car. I gave the car a good run round and it ran well with that carb. The carb that I rebuilt is here. I started thinking about this carb because I was thinking, well, this carb was in good condition, and I realised afterwards I shouldn't have bothered even tearing it down because this is a known good carb. It was in good condition. That carb was on the engine that I had in the sedan before I put this motor in. So if I'd have realised that, I wouldn't have bothered trying to wash it and everything, because I'm not sure that I've done it any favours by washing it. Anyway, it is what it is. That's the carb. It's been checked through. It's got some new gaskets in it, and it should be fine. So that's a known good carb. It matches that one there. So I'm going to take that one off, put that one on, and drive the car with that one to check that it's still okay. then start working on the twin carb manifold setup. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the carb off the coupe and put this one on. Right, I've fitted the carburetor that I rebuilt yesterday, and I'm going to see if it will run. Unfortunately, it looks like it's just about to start raining, but let's just see how it goes. I'll start it and just run it here anyway, regardless. So let's see if it'll go. Listen for the pump. Yeah, can you hear it? You should see some fuel in that thing there. Okay, that's stopped ticking now, so that means the system is primed. What's good is that that fuel pump there isn't leaking, because that fuel pump doesn't normally get pressurised, you see. This part here is normally on the suck side of the pump, so that's not leaking. So that leaked when I first pressurised it after it had been sat for a few years. In other words, the gaskets had all dried out, but they've, you know, they've come back to life now. I haven't got a choke, so let's put the choke on manually. Partial choke. Right. When it's warm, I can set the idle screws, but to be honest, I don't think I need to do that. What I want to do is put the twin carb manifold on. But you know, blimey, that's just as fitted, as found, as fitted. But it was running on an engine of this size before, so that's pretty good, I'd say. And that's just 1.5 turns each on the idle screws. Slightly fast idle, but that's alright. We've got oil pressure. Hasn't warmed up yet. It's not charging, but it did charge when I revved it. And we've got fuel. It's not dark and we're not wearing sunglasses, so blimey, that's alright, isn't it? Actually, on reflection now, I think the carb looks okay. It looks pretty good. You can't complain of that, can you? Okay, right. You don't want to sit here watching this engine run all day, do you? Maybe you do, I don't know. Okay, I'll brave the showers then and give it a quick run round. Back in a bit. Something just fell off there, I wonder what that was. Let's say that you've got leaking power valve or something like that, which I have experienced. The power valve wasn't quite tight enough. It'll drive along at full throttle, where you need plenty of fuel. It's driving along gently like this that it doesn't like. So, if I'm testing this carburetor, driving gently is actually the test that the carburetor's in good shape. Let's go back down, see if I can see what fell off. It might have been like a spanner on the blade nipple or something I left on the running board or something. There's something there. I'll knock the engine off because I ain't got a fan on. Haha. Ooh. This is what I used when I was adjusting the brakes. I can't see the socket, but you know, it's a 1/2 inch drive with a 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter on it. And there was a bolt, but that ain't off my car. Right, let's get out of here. It's only a good place to stop, really. So there's a good 11/16 socket up there somewhere. Warm start, wasn't it? You know, it started up all right. That carb is just superb straight out the box, just, you know, excellent, great. So that'll do for one of my pair, obviously. Now the only thing that bothers me is the other one's quite a lot dirtier than that, so I think I might just pull the other one down a bit and clean it up. Yeah, so this one could do with a clean, and I could do with seeing what jets are in it. You know, it would make sense to have 50s in both, wouldn't it? There might be 50s, I'm not sure. Some of them have 51s in. But yeah, but that that car ran well and it felt good out on the road. And what fell off was my brake adjusting tool, which was an 11/16 socket on Tommy bar. I had a 11/16 socket on there, and I must have left it on one of the brake adjusters, and it's just rattled off. And then I found that in the road, and then further up the road I found that, and I walked up and down looking for the socket and couldn't find it. And I've looked on the brake adjusters and it isn't on any of the brake adjusters either, so that's gone. Oh well, at least it wasn't actually a part of the car. Doesn't look good, does it, driving around and pieces falling off your car? Oh well, no harm done. Okay, right, another good little test run then, and it felt good actually. That carbs ran really strong, so fingers crossed. Let's see how it goes with 2 carbs on. I'm going to start taking the inlet manifold off. There's nothing particularly tricky about it, so I don't think I'm going to film it. You know, it's take the generator off. You could leave the generator on, to be honest, but I'll take the generator off to make it lighter. I'll take the carb off because I need it to go on the other one. The fuel pump stand and the fuel pump hopefully will fit on the new manifold, so let's see how they go. I'll probably have to make some new pipes. That pipe into the fuel pump probably can remain. I've disconnected the battery. I don't think you need to watch me take this apart. I'm aware that the whole job, there's hours and hours and hours of video, so I'm going to be a little bit more economic in the filming. Okay, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Hello. It's not very much later, and the inlet manifold is off. So let's have a look inside the crusty flathead. It looks pretty good, to be honest. Looks nice and clean. A little bit of something on there, probably just dropped in as I lifted the gasket off. You know, you can't believe just how bad this was when I got it. Yeah, it looks okay. I don't feel inclined to feel the need to do much to it other than put the manifold on. It's not going to get big valves or anything. Considering this car runs without an oil filter, you know, it's not too bad, is it? There's a magnet here. Not much on it, is there really? A few little bits and pieces. I'll wipe that and put it back in. Okay, yeah. So I'll clean everything up. I'll sort out a nice new gasket for it. Fit the other manifold. Maybe fit the other manifold, or fit some studs to the other manifold and then fit it. I'll be interested to see how the generator either clears or fouls this hose. Okay, righto, another step ahead then. Back in a bit. Hello. Put the manifold on for a trial fit. Just put 4 bolts in it. I've got the same belt as before. I've kind of pulled the generator up and got the belt on. Well, you know, I had it down and then put the belt on and then pulled it up. It's a little bit tight, which isn't great when you're using these sort of pumps. So it looks like I might want the next belt up, but I don't know. But it is engaged in the grooves, I believe. It is engaged in the grooves and it's sitting flat, but it is hard down on there, so I might try and grind a bit more off there if I can. And it is just touching that, but if I wanted a longer belt it would have to come up. I think what I'm going to do is try and fit the Lucas one to see if that will fit, because it's a smaller diameter. So let me try that, but I think it might be longer. But that does go on, so it's within the realms of possibility. Again, this is just a trial fit. It looks kind of okay, I suppose. You know, it doesn't look out of place, does it? And you can see with all these things around it, you'll hardly notice the difference in those riser blocks. Okay, let me continue to work on it then, and I'll bring you back when there's more to show. I can't fit the Lucas one. It's kind of almost in place there, and it won't fit because it's too long. If the terminals weren't there, it would just about fit, and it is slightly smaller diameter, so that one's not going to fit. Leave it with me then, and I'll continue to work on it. Okay, back in a bit. Okay, I've attacked the manifold with the grinder on that boss there, and I've also attacked the body of the generator in the same area just to get it down a bit lower. And now the lowest point is when it's resting on there, and the belt is on. The belt is on and the belt is slack. So that's good. So the belt fits, it's on, and it's now within the realms of adjustment. So it needs to come up a little bit to adjust it, but if you look, can you see that is it clear? Yeah, it's actually clear, and I can cheat, you know, 1/4 of an inch here, and a little bit of a twist there, and a little bit of a re-angle there, and a little bit of a re-angle there. I can push that over like that. So I think that's going to work. That is just about okay. In my dim and distant memory, I do remember seeing a manifold, like an aftermarket manifold, that had the generator mount point set at an angle. So it's not, I'm not inventing the wheel. I'm reinventing the wheel, I mean. But that's okay, I think. I'm quite pleased with that, because I've been out here quite a while now. I'm going to take a break. What am I going to have? You guessed it, yeah, a cup of tea and a bit of cake. Looking good. Take care then, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. I'm on the milling machine, and I'm making a thing. Now this is a scrap brass fitting, but I just drilled and tapped a hole. I'll show you what it looks like when I get it out. Here's the piece. Can you see there's like a square bit, and whatever this was attached to went on there. And I've drilled a hole there, and what I've done, I've gone like a triangular hole. I've drilled there, there and there, and then I've put a screw thread there. And the idea is, if you can imagine only the square bit remaining, this will go onto this piece with a thing screwed into it, and then the thing, which will be longer than that, will attach to it. I've just salvaged this off this carb and hopefully that should screw into there, which it does. So you can imagine that locking onto that throttle shaft. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put this piece in the lathe and get rid of this threaded part and get rid of those remnants there as well. It's all a bit eccentric anyway. Yeah, I think that looks alright. Okay, I'll get that out and clean it up a bit. Make sure it fits. Hello. That's the linkage in place. Nothing's tightened up yet, but that's the idea. I mean, this isn't ideal, but that's how it worked on the other one. You can see that piece there, look, it screws in. I had to put this ball on a lathe and file down the end. This piece wouldn't go on. The ball was slightly oversized. I think the balls on these carbs and things are less than a quarter, and I think that was a 1/4 inch. But that's looking okay. That's kind of wide open at that point there. And this is the link that I used on the other carb. So if this went back to a single carb, this link could be used as is. And that's adjustable, so it can be... The centre to centre is adjustable on this collet arrangement here, and then this is adjustable on there, and that's the nail that I turned down. So it's an oddball size, and the hole is sort of triangular, so that the bolt will wedge it into this corner of the triangle, which I think might be better than just a round hole. As far as I can tell, everything is in order. Everything looks like it is going to work. So what I'll do, I'll dismantle it. There was a couple of little sharp edges and things that I wanted to address on the manifold. I'll smooth those out. I'll rebuild that carb. I'll try and find matching gaskets all around, and I'll get it back, then reassemble it. You know, I'll find something better for there. I might make a stud, I don't know. But yeah, it's looking okay, and I can move that hose over just by finagling the existing hoses. But I'm quite happy with that little thing that I made. I think it looks okay, you know, from a scrap bit of brass. Okay, righto, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hello. I just popped out for 5 minutes, and I undid this clamp, and I undid that clamp, and that one, and I've kind of twisted this hose that way a bit, and lifted and pulled this one this way a bit, and then just let that one settle to where it wanted to be. And now there's a decent gap between there's like a finger's width of gap there, so about 1/2 inch gap, maybe not quite that, but you know, 12 mil, something like that. So that was a quick and easy little thing. I'm really pleased at how well that has fitted in there. I was just looking at this. This appears to be tapped 8th NPT. The fitting for the distributor is 7/16. This fitting here, and that takes that, but also the pipe for the windscreen wipers. But as you can see, it's kind of a straight through hole. This doesn't actually do anything. I don't know if it's supposed to do something, but certainly on this one it doesn't do anything. So yeah, so I need to just work out quite what I want to do there. I found one of these as well. I've got 3 or 4 of these. I salvaged them from a piece of equipment that was being thrown out. And these take a 1/4 inch pipe and a 1/4 inch olive or ferrule. So the idea is that I'll use one there, and then I'll have a pipe going from here into there, and a little short pipe from here into there, and a pipe from there into the fuel pump. And the beauty of these is that they can be undone as many times as you like, really. On my other one, I've got it down here, but it kind of gets tangled up with the linkage, which is on this side, on the other car. So I thought I'd put it up here. So that'll be a nice easy job, won't it? Okay, I'll get that carb built up at some point. Oh, I've offered that air filter on as well to see if it was too tall, and it isn't too tall. It's okay. I think I think that filter is off an air compressor or something like that. 1132. I'll go and look up, see if there's any more available. Okay. Righto. Leave it with me then, and I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Oh, that's got one in. Ooh. It's been on the shelf a little while. Okay, righto. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Hello. I've just come out to do some work on the car, and I'm just having a look, and I think everything that I need to do, I've got a method of doing it. I think I'm going to have to borrow the air cleaner, some air cleaner parts off the sedan, but that's okay. So I've got parts that I can use. I need to put that carb together. I can assemble that up. I probably won't bother with choke. Everything's looking okay. I think I've got a viable setup. I think I've taken everything into account. So I'm going to take it all apart, and then I'll build the carb. I'll get rid of the sharp bits on the manifold. I'll make sure everything's okay and start reassembling it. I'll bring you back if I find something significant, but when I come back, this will probably be in its final stage. I'm aware of building up too many hours of video time. Okay, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Hello, I've been working on the car. I've fitted the manifold. I've rebuilt the carb. I fitted a different base because the end on the shaft was a little bit football shaped, so this one's got a bit better spherical end on the shaft, so I'll put that base on. I noticed that's one of those ones that are sealed off. I've made up 2 of the fuel pipes. These all go on with olives, or ferrules if you like. I've just fitted well, I haven't fitted it because it won't go on. I've just encountered a bit of a problem. The fuel pump stand won't go all the way down because the fuel pump is touching the manifold there. And it's not touching on this thing, it's touching on the actual body. So I don't quite know how I should address that. It's just touching down there. That's crazy, isn't it? Maybe I need to space that up and put a longer push rod in. That's a little bit of a job stopper at the moment. I mean, this is designed for an 8BA. I don't know if the 8BA thing puts the the 8BA puts it over at an angle, I think. Yeah, maybe it does. But I wouldn't have an oil filler then, because I've sealed them off here. I'll have a think about it. But anyway, other than that, things are progressing okay. Righto, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Back in a bit. Hello. This is a French intake manifold. Yeah. So I thought, well, I need a spacer for the fuel pump stand. So I thought, well, to me this is scrap. And there's a fuel pump stand there. Okay, it's got 4 bolts instead of 2. So I've just cut it off. But basically, if I skim that down in the lathe, that'll be an aluminium spacer, won't it? Just need to skim it down. And then there's actually, I don't know if these bolts will line up, but there's 2 places there where you can drill for the bolt pattern. So I'll clean the gasket remnants off, and I'll use this as a spacer. And it should be just about thick enough, I think. Okay, righto, back in a bit. Hello, I just bunged it in the lathe. I've skimmed off the underside, and that's as sort of thick as I can make it, while having, you know, machined as much as I can off, if you see what I mean. It's just got the remnants of the oily bits there. So that's probably thick enough, to be honest. So I'll cut that to shape. I'll have to try and hold it somehow to put a little counter bore on the end. But I'll offer it up and see how it looks. See if it's enough. Hello, the job's not finished, it's only just mocked up, but I've cut a spacer, cut it down, got rid of the 4 extra bolts. It fits on. This goes on, and it just about, it clears, so that's good. These are always a bit warped anyway, but that clears now. There's a gasket. You can see where I drew around that gasket with a pen to get the shape. There's my piece. This is a slight, I need to just relieve the holes very slightly. That's okay. There's the baffle and the first gasket in place. There's my piece, and you can see, well, I've sort of scalloped it away to take account of that thickness of that piece. That edge there, so that goes on. That goes on, that fits down nicely. I probably need to just put a little bit more of a relief on this back edge where it's very close to that throttle pedal shaft, and then this thing fits down on top. Now I'll have to lengthen the push rod, but can you see the push rod's already got some washers in it? So I'll have to, it's screwed together, so I'll unscrew it and make up like a spacer piece, or just rework it completely to take account of the extra thickness. And then this can go on, and I need longer studs as well, obviously. That can go on with a gasket, and that is, there's just about enough clearance there. So okay, I'm quite happy at that, because I've got myself out of the mire, so I can continue with the job. Okay, righto, that's the end of my session today. So thanks very much for joining me in the garage. the job's progressing. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then. Bye.